Welcome back to the Blogsy guys. I'm Lance.
I'm Sean.
I'm Saul.
And this is episode 8, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going to call
Episode
this the bitching and moaning episode. You guys will see why.
Okay.
Okay, so the first topic I want to talk about is a general topic. It's not going through the blogosphere right now. There's people that write about it pretty
Before
regularly.
you start,
Yeah.
did you see that iPad, the new iPad is finally coming to Korea?
No!
Yay! I'm getting it.
Which, actually, it's been a little bit of a frustration for us because we want to put out the Retina display support,
Yeah.
but we have nothing to test it on because they don't sell it here. So that'll be nice. We went ahead and added Retina support, and we'll get it in the update, which Apple will approve, we're guessing, tomorrow.
Right.
And so it'll be there, but we've never actually seen it on a new iPad. I like to call iPad 3.
Yeah. It'll be released this Friday, and I'll get it, and we can test the Retina display.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really good.
I've actually seen one of my friends went to the States, and while he was in the States, he bought one and brought it back. And it's hard to really talk about how great the display is until you see it in real life.
Right,
It's one of those things.
exactly.
Everybody's like, "Oh yeah, what big deal?" Okay, it's a little bit clearer, but when you see it, it really pops. There's something about it, like wow. It's just really clear and
Yeah,
pops.
I really want to see it in a person.
And of course, I had to go and check out Blogsy on his iPad, and yeah, it's not that version. It's not Retina optimized, so the icons aren't clear. They're a little blurry and stuff like that. But anyway, we're getting all
Yeah.
that taken care of.
Okay.
I can't wait. So it's this Friday, right?
Yeah.
So
4 days.
we'll be able to check it out this Friday.
Yeah.
Today's Tuesday, so
Yeah.
it's a few
I'll
days
buy it
away.
in the morning, and I'll take it here.
Okay. The topic I want to bring up, going back, is kind of general, and we've had a little bit of discussion about this in the past. I think Apple kind of screwed themselves with the App Store. Short term versus long term. When Apple first released the iPhone, and then also the iPad, but especially the iPhone, they wanted to get a lot of developers on there, and they also needed to satisfy getting a lot of people willing to buy the apps. Because I think Apple was ahead of the game, and they realized they could have a great device, but if there's no software for it, it's kind of pointless. Nobody's going to buy it. It's not going to be a hit. So they needed to make people want to buy the apps. So when they came out, they said, okay, 99-cent apps. And I think that created a belief in people that apps should be 99 cents. And then, of course, right after that, so many companies figured out, hey, if we give it away for free and do advertising or something like that, then we can do free. So people, I think in general, have a perception that apps should be 99 cents or free. And that's great in the short term, my belief, because it got a lot of people out there buying apps because, oh, it's 99 cents. It's nothing. But I think it screwed Apple in the long term. Because now I think we're at the point, it's been, 5-6 years, something like that,
Yeah.
where most of the general markets, the things that you want to just do generally, have been covered, and the apps are really good, and you can try to compete with it, but your app is going to be marginally different. So then you have to get into apps that are very specific and satisfy a very small market that you don't have a large market. And you just can't financially make it doing the app for 99 cents or free. So developers are not developing all the amazing apps, I think, that could be out there to do the things you want to do on an iPad to eventually, hopefully, fully replace a notebook or laptop or a desktop. They're not going to develop it. And we've got what, I don't know, we've gotten a few people saying about Blogsy, hey, I think it's too expensive. But actually, we've gotten more people comment, hey, we think you guys are giving it away too free. You guys should be, or too cheap. You guys should be selling it for $9.99. but I know that's the exception. The people that are actually taking the time to reach out are probably going to have something positive to say than just reach out and say the negative. So, you know, what are your thoughts?
First, number one, I don't think Apple decided that price, 99 cents. Of course, many of the top 10 apps in an iPhone app store is 99 cents. But if you see the iPad app store, there are more apps like $1.99, $2.99, like that. And the apps that Apple released, like iLife apps and iWork apps, iLife apps are $4.99 and iWork apps are $9.99. So if you see, the apps that Apple released themselves is not, there's no app like 99 cents app.
But don't you have there's a general perception that if it's developed and put out by Apple, then people trust Apple. So the $9.99, oh, I know what Apple does. They do great stuff, so I'll pay the $9.99. But this random developer, I don't know. That's a lot of money to spend. You know, it's very...
Yeah, maybe. But I think Apple is trying to give some price range guide or something. They set the price and they're telling people, if you make app like this, you can sell in $4.99 or $9.99 or around that price range.
Well, okay. Then also, if you take a look, you know, I think a great piece of software that's similar to Blogsy, but it's for the Mac, is called Mars Edit. If you guys don't know, it's a great piece of software. The guys there are great. But if you look, it's $40. It's $40. Now, tell me, is it easier to develop for an iPad than it is for the Mac?
I have never developed an app for a Mac, so I don't really know, but I don't think it's that different.
Right. So it's not that much different.
Or
are there
maybe apps for iPad maybe can be a little bit difficult because it's a new UI.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now you made me lose my train. And so,
Yeah.
you know, that's kind of difficult. I mean, does the iPad, are there more iPad users than there are Mac users? No. So why do people have a perception, or why is there the feeling that if it's on the iPad you should pay less? I mean, and we're doing $4.99 and they're doing $40. That's a huge difference. It's not a marginal difference. You know, so what is the perception? What is going on there?
But the second point I want to talk is, it's not like if you sell an app more expensive, it's not, I mean, you don't sell the same amount. If you sell it in 99 cents, it might be like millions of people can buy it, or if you sell in $4.99, maybe half or less than half people will buy it. So I don't think it's the same. So you can experience with that price range. I don't know which price is right for your app. We all don't know. So
right, but also there's elasticity. So just because the price of an app goes down doesn't necessarily, it depends on the kind of app it is. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have a high jump in people that are going to purchase it, because even if, for example, if we drop the price of Blogsy to 99 cents, a lot of people don't blog. So they're not going to go out and go, oh, now it's 99 cents, let's buy it. So it's very different than, say, a game, where most people want to play games, or most people have games. Most people are willing to play around with games. If it's a really good rated game, 99 cents is nothing. But even if our ratings are good and everybody's saying Blogsy is great and we drop the price to 99 cents, if you're not a blogger, there's no purpose for it. So you can't, the pricing structure is quite different. And you take an app like I talked about on our podcast before, a teleprompter app, and they're selling it for, I think, $15 or $20, something like that. Same thing. I mean, they have a very, very small market. And so I think if they drop their price, it's not like they're going to grow in sales.
Exactly that. So the apps go more and more professional. There's price tend to be go up because less people will buy it. Only professionals will buy it.
I agree. You have to do it that way. But why the disparity? Why the huge disparity between $4.99 for Blogsy and $40 for Marzetta? I mean, yeah, I can see a difference within the App Store, of course, but why the difference in general compared to the iPad?
I don't know, but one more point is, after the iPhone came out in 2007, honestly, I never bought an app for my Mac. I don't know where all the apps comes from. I never paid my money for buying an app. But after the iPhone and iPad, the apps are all 99 cents. So in my mind, I started thinking, oh, I can buy an app. Actually, that's just a cup of coffee. So,
Not even.
yeah.
You can get like 5 apps for a cup of coffee.
Right, exactly. So I think that changes people's, assumption, the way they thinking. So they actually start to buy apps, and I think eventually that's good for developers.
Well, I think what's going to happen is, there'll be some specialty apps developed, but I think it's part of what I call the gold rush time still, where there's this perception that if you develop an app, wow, you can get rich, you can make a lot of money. So there's still a lot of people that are developing apps expecting huge returns, and it's never going to happen. And we're still in that gold rush time. And also, I think you're going to see, and you're already starting to see it, a lot of the highest rated apps are free, and those companies have found their money in other sources. They've either gotten venture capital, or they have a premium-based model where on the net, for this feature, you got to pay more for monthly service or something like that. And so it's going to, a company like, say, Blogsy, that we have no way of getting venture capital. We have no way of putting advertising or stuff like that in Blogsy, or even advertising wouldn't help us, but we have no way of adding a premium onto it. It really hurts, the market. I think in the future, people aren't going to have the thing. And I've seen in a lot of people, comments in blogs and stuff I've written, why doesn't someone develop an app to do this? And I want to say, because there's just no market for the price range that you want it at. It just is not economically feasible. So.
Yeah, I think we can make an answer before we see, how many copies of the Marzetta it will sell in a month and how many copies of Blogsy it will sell in a month. We can compare the benefits, the incomes.
Right. We can't compare that. I just predict, it's just a prediction, that you're going to see the market move more and more towards like very big markets, almost like Instagram. It's free, they got their money from venture capital, and they're trying to service everyone, and you're going to see fewer and fewer very specialized, good quality apps. And it's interesting, I deal with customer service, and so this guy had a problem in Blogsy, and I was trying to walk him through. Actually, he had a renamed XML RPC file, and his blog was sending back the wrong XML RPC address for the renamed file. So that's what the problem was. But he said, it's so great to see that we support Blogsy, that we're out there trying to do our customer support, because so many apps, they've just gone dead, or there's no customer support. And, I didn't want to say it to him, but I think that's a product of what I'm saying, that people go out and they develop thinking, oh, if I make this app for this product or for this specialty market, we'll get rich or we'll make enough money, and then they develop it and their sales are so low, it's just not economically feasible for them to continue to improve it for the market. So they just give up. And so you have all these dead apps, or apps that aren't supported, or ones that aren't getting new features, like that.
Yeah. We don't have experience with developing Mac apps, so we're just guessing.
So that's why I'm calling this the bitch and moan podcast because I'm kind of bitching and moaning, just telling kind of the developer side of my thoughts on the developer side of the thing. So
Lance and I have, in many times we have different opinions. I think it's really interesting and fun to talk.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, as long as we have an open mind,
right?
And can see the other side. Obviously, most of the time you don't make sense. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
It's good, and I think our whole team. I don't want to brag or anything. That's not what this podcast is about. But I think we have different views, different opinions. So we're very good at saying, "Hey, what about this?" and "Well, then this," and "I don't think this," and we come to a consensus, and it makes Blogsy and our team much stronger and better. So,
yeah.
Anyway, what's your topic? Let's get off of this.
Okay. Maybe we can discuss about this topic too. It's about the new rumors about the iPhone 5's screen size. These days it's kind of buzz. And The Verge tech blog posted a blog post about the iPhone 5 screen size, and they think they found a solution for next version of iPhone screen. That's the height is a little bit taller than previous current version, so that the width is same pixel and same size, but the height will be taller. That way you can have more rows of the screen, home screen icons, and this kind of apps, some default apps, you can have more room for that list in the middle, and developers don't have to do anything about it. And website too, maps.
What are your thoughts?
But the problem is like this: the games are not relative. The size is not relative, so it have to be cut in a two sides. If you see in a landscape, and if you see in a portrait mode too, games will be cut in the top and the bottom. And before I tell my opinions, the other guy posted a similar post, and he talked about the problems of the taller iPhone size. It's the things he brought up is landscape mode. It's longer, so if the keyboard comes up, there's no space to type or scroll down or up. And running on iPad have 4:3 ratio screen size. So if you run this new iPhone app on iPad, there might be too much spaces.
I didn't think about that.
That kind of problem. So I don't know. My opinion.
Can we go back to The Verge?
Okay. My bad. I don't have problem with current screen size of iPhone. So I can't think of any big reason that Apple should change the screen size. I don't know, maybe for older people, no offense.
People with bad eyes?
Yeah, they prefer to have bigger screen. I don't know. But the other opinion is keeping the current pixel resolution and make a screen a little bit bigger. But iPhones, the device size will be same, but make the screens a little bit bigger to fit the device. But that's also reducing the pixel resolution. If you keep the resolution and make the size bigger, that PPI will be less.
Instead of holding, 10 inches or something like that, then you have to hold it 15?
Yeah, maybe, yeah. So, both way, I don't know, that's not a perfect solution to me. How do you think?
Can you scroll back up? I like the size of the iPhone. So if the iPhone starts going towards these ridiculously big monster devices, I will be really annoyed. You know, you have to carry around this thing in your pocket. And I actually would like to see, I don't think we're at this stage yet, but eventually, a reduction in size instead of going bigger. You know, that's not Apple's way. I don't think it's the smart industry way to go bigger, bigger, bigger. It's so if they can figure out how to keep the iPhone relatively the same size, okay, maybe a few millimeters this way or millimeters that way, it's not a problem, and increase the screen size, that would be cool. But if they have to give a bigger device to get a bigger screen, I think that's a fail. I wouldn't upgrade.
Right.
You know, I maybe it's my bias too, but I think the reason that a lot of the Android devices are getting bigger is because they haven't spent the time and don't know how to get everything in a small package. So they put it in a larger package and then try to market it as some, wow, this is better because it's bigger. And I don't believe that's the case. So I really hope they don't mess around too much with the size. Would I like a bigger screen size? Sure. I don't have a problem with that. But if it means bigger device, no thank you.
So you mean keep the device size same and make the screen size bigger?
Right.
That's
Relatively, something like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you know, I don't know all the pixel resolution and all the details of that. I'll let the Apple geniuses or whoever they are, the geniuses, figure all that out. But, you know, it's just also, you know, we live in Korea, in its Samsung country, Android device country. And I really get, I'm sorry, but I get annoyed, or it's just ridiculous to see some of these, you know, the Note, and people using it like a phone. It's like, hello, or even worse, the tablet. You know, what's
Galaxy Tab.
Yeah, and you see them like holding this thing up. Hello, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and they're not. There's no
ridiculous.
picture. They're talking like using it like a phone. That's like, what are you doing? Get an iPad.
Yeah, right.
Get an iPhone and an iPad. Much better.
I'm living in Korea. I born in Korea and I worked at Samsung actually, but yeah, I don't really like the way that Samsung does. It's not for developers too. They are making too many different screen sizes, so developers have to build every single version of their app. So it's
Which brings up too. There's a lot of rumors about a 7-inch iPad.
right.
What are your thoughts on that?
There are many interesting opinions too. Some people brought up they'll use that non-retina resolution and make the size half of it. And the John Gruber, I like his blog and I'm following him. The John Gruber mentioned he tested with took a screenshot of iPad in a portrait mode and rotated to the landscape. That makes that screen size smaller, right? He think that's the size of the 7-inch iPad. So he felt it in actual device, and he think it's not that inconvenient to use the small buttons there. But I also think that's not Apple's way. Maybe Apple will, you know, I can make disappointed to Apple someday, but
Not huge Apple fanboy. Wow, that you would actually be upset with Apple? That'd be amazing.
yeah, but I don't think they will. You know, all the apps is perfectly designed for that. What's 9.5-inch iPad? But if they just shrink the size, I think that's not a good way to do. And other opinion is make the iPhone app, use the iPhone version of app and make it bigger to 7-inch. And it's the Retina display, so it won't be that, you know, blurry.
I think would it be nice to have a mid-range size kind of thing? Yeah, there'd be a market for it. There'd be people that don't like how big the iPad is, don't like how small the iPhone is. But to me, it would be a signal that Apple is dying. Because I think one of the great things about Steve Jobs was his focus. And he said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to focus on this, and everything else, we're not going to do this other stuff. Let's just be the best at this.
Right.
And it's Samsung and some of the other manufacturers that have the opposite strategy. Let's flood the market with every possible kind of device there is, and hopefully we'll satisfy every single little market. And because of that, it causes problems for developers, and the products I don't think are as good. And so I would be very disappointed.
Right.
Because it would be a signal that, hey, Apple's lost its way and it's going to go down this path and start to die.
I agree with you, totally. And I think before Apple made an iPhone and iPad, they must have tested tens of different screen sizes. And I think they choose the exact perfect size of that device. So, yeah, I just don't want that Apple make the different size of these mobile devices, but just
the big question is, they have the iPod Touch.
Right.
Well, what is that out there doing? It's almost like I don't hear much about it anymore. I don't hear development on it anymore. Yeah, all the apps on basically that work on the iPhone will work on it. If they decide to do something with that, the iPod large, then get rid of the iPod because the iPod becomes a bigger size. Yeah, but I don't understand iPad mini. That I don't understand.
the only case I think I need that smaller size of tablet is when I read something. When I read a ebook with my iPad on subway, that's a little bit too big to hold. I have to hold it in.
Look at me.
A little bit heavy too. I have to hold that handle and read some books. So I read it on my iPhone, but it's a little bit too small.
Yeah, I notice that when I'm reading or stuff like that, you want to do it with one hand, and especially you got to have, like on a bus or subway in Korea, you have to have a solid grip on it because it's not the smoothest ride. Where do you put your fingers? I don't know how to really hold it without touching the touch.
iPad?
Yeah.
I think that's why Apple made this bezel a little bit very thick at first time. When the first iPad came out, people complained about it. Why is it so thick? It's ugly. But there should be some space to put your thumb on to hold like this. So I don't have a problem holding like this.
But do you feel confident that you're going to be able to grasp that and hit a bump in the road and wow?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying a little bit. So I don't use my iPad on the street or while I'm walking.
Yeah, I agree that it would be convenient to have a smaller size when you're traveling, when you're moving, throw it in your bag and stuff. But the negatives outweigh that positive to me.
Right. Maybe you should buy a Kindle.
I do. I have a Kindle.
He has a
just for reading. Someone asked me, why, if you have an iPad, why do you have that? And for me, it's just because I get too distracted on my iPad. As soon as I sit down, I'm like, I want to read, and then, there's this game, I should do some blogging, wow, follow my RSS, or whatever. I could never get any reading done. So Kindle gives me that focus, nothing else to distract me.
So do you actually read more after you get Kindle?
A lot more.
Oh, really?
A lot more.
That's good.
Yeah. The only thing, stupid, but the only thing that bothers me is, I do most of my reading at night.
Yeah.
And you have to have a light on.
Right.
You're so used to it's self-lit so you can see, but no, it's like an actual book. You have to have a light on.
Do you see the new e-ink device will have the light too?
No, I didn't see that.
Some Barnes & Nobles, Nook.
The Nook?
Yeah,
Wow.
the new version will have the light. I didn't see actual device, so I don't know how they'll put the light, the backlight or light around the screen, but yeah, they'll have the lights.
Interesting. Now you always hear them working on color e-ink.
Right.
That'll be interesting to see how they pull that off. I mean, it can't replace an iPad, especially the new iPad with that Retina display. I mean, it's just so crisp and clear. So
People are also saying that e-ink will die soon. How do you think?
the devices are cheap enough. I mean, if they keep the device super cheap, under $100, you know, if you can pick up an e-ink device for $50, then I don't think it's going to die. I mean, it has its definite benefits, its ease of use for so many books on it to travel. Yeah, but if they're trying to make it better and better, and the price is $100 to $200, then people are hesitant. $50 is nothing for, I think, the majority of people. So.
Yeah, but I think maybe after 10 years that LCD got so much better, so it'll be cheaper and it'll be more good for your eye and maybe can be flexible. In that case, maybe e-ink will die or they'll be merged.
Well, yeah, if you're talking 5 to 10 years out, I think Retina is going to die. I think, you know, there's OLED, which Samsung's big into. I think that has some possibilities once some limitations are achieved or conquered or whatever.
Okay.
Okay, on to the app section.
Yep.
Apps,
Go
fancy
first.
apps. Yeah.
Will I change something?
Yeah. Input. Okay, let me turn on.
Just turning on the AirPlay.
AirPlay. Okay, so my app is not Blogsy.
You tried it.
Is Storify. And we had some debate about this one. You know, I didn't hear about it until someone tweeted or someone put out something that said, hey, it looks like Storify stole Blogsy's UI. And so, of course, we had to see what they were talking about. And I was amazed at how, you know, similar it is. Oh, I don't want to set up. Obviously, I don't use this thing, so let me
It's
go back.
asking you Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, YouTube, Flickr, the browser, and dragging in from the dock. I mean, it's very, very similar. I mean, it's not exactly the same. It doesn't have formatting, and obviously the icons look a little bit different. But the general principle and how the functionality is extremely similar to Blogsy. And honestly, for me, it was a little annoying. Yeah, you know, I felt like, you know, so, but you guys didn't, when we discussed it before, you guys didn't really have the same kind of negative feeling.
I didn't get annoyed. If we had some patent for it, I'll get annoyed. I'll sue them or something. But you know, we didn't get patents. I think if this means that our UI is good, so people are kind of copying us or taking some elements of our UI. But I just want to ask them that they actually saw us and think about this UI, or just they think about their own way.
Yeah, is it so obvious that lots of people had the same thought and they came up with the idea on their own, or did they? Yeah, exactly. Did they see us and go, "That's great UI for what we're doing. Let's have similar things."
Yeah, I'm just curious about that, and maybe that way we can talk to the developer and we can be friends. I don't know, but yeah.
Even if you look, I mean, even the color scheme is fairly similar.
Yeah.
I mean, the dock color
Right.
and the background color, and then of course you have the paper. But the icons are different, obviously, and I like their icons, honestly. Yeah, it looks nice. Yeah. I like ours too. I like theirs.
Yeah.
But
Is it Instagram? They have Instagram?
yeah, they have Instagram. Yeah. So
Instagram.
okay, that's kind of my.
Oh.
I don't want. I just.
You haven't used it?
No, I'm not a. I think this is very much a curating app. You got to go out there and say, okay, I want to write about the iPad, and then go through Twitter and find tweets, and Facebook and find posts, and Instagram and find pictures, and blah blah blah, and put it all together, and then have people follow you. And I'm just not a curator. I rather see what other people have curated.
I don't know if you can actually write something on the post here.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can.
So I think in that case,
Oh, my Bluetooth keyboard's turned on.
it's very similar to what Blogsy does. It's just it doesn't use the current blog platforms like WordPress or Blogger.
Yeah, and they don't have they don't have the HTML because they're not, trying to satisfy all the platforms out there. They're just specifically for their own service.
Right. They have their own service, so they can do whatever they want because they're not limited to that blog platforms. So.
But. Yeah, I don't know if I should do this because it's kind of advertising and it's competition for Blogsy. But on their service they have like posters. You can post to posters and it will automatically post to your blog. So it is an indirect competition to Blogsy.
Yeah.
So.
And people who are already using blogs, I think there's no reason to use this app. Use Blogsy.
Okay, what's yours?
Okay, my app, I'll use the AirPlay too. Apple TV mirroring on. Do you have the sound on?
Yeah, I have the sound on. Just a second. Jusung,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts? Did seeing the Storify app so similar to Blogsy, did that bother you at all, or?
At the first time, I've got annoyed about what they did, but now I'm okay.
So you also had kind of an annoyance.
And also agree with Sean's idea because our app is good and UI is also good, so they just followed.
Well, what bothered me is I think I saw it on one podcast. They were, talking about Storify in the podcast, and they said, "Oh, and the UI is really good." But they've never done a podcast of, in that podcast they've never talked about Blogsy. And I know I've communicated with the person that does that podcast. I don't want to bring up who it is and everything, but I've communicated with them, and they chose not to add Blogsy to their podcast ever. So they know of our UI, and then they got Storify later, and they're like, "Wow, what a great UI! Like, you've seen the same UI before." So anyway, I had that annoyance on top of it. I don't think I ever shared with you guys. Okay.
Okay, this app called Figure.
Figure.
Yeah, and this is developed by a musician. The Propeller Head. They made a...
Oh, Propellerhead. Yes, I know.
Do you know them?
Yeah, I know Propellerhead.
Yeah. They made a song for the Matrix movie. Yeah,
Okay.
Spy Break. And this is an app that you can make some electronic songs very easily and it's very fun. So I'll try something. So you can record.
A little bit of Cabbage Patch.
You can change the sound of this is the bass. Can you turn the volume a little bit up? Yeah, see, you can change the sound. Okay, what's the best one? I like this one. You can make the drum. Okay, here we go.
Maybe we need theme music for Blogsy, or
Right.
for the Blogsy Guys podcast.
Right, yeah. I'll try that. It's an airplay, so it's not real time. So
Even Jusung's feet are moving a little.
see, and you can make a melody. So like this, you can make a nice dance music in a minute. So sound is not so good here, and you can dance. It's pretty fun. Yeah.
Well, you're very musically inclined,
Mhm.
you know, and I'm not. I don't do much with music apps or music in general, so not even a big listener. So you know, there's all that buzz about Storify, which they don't have in Korea, right?
What story?
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry, Spotify.
Yeah, Spotify.
Sorry, Spotify.
Yeah, we don't have it in Korea. I heard of it.
Yeah, there's several competing now that are in America and Europe, and I couldn't care less. You know, like that's one of the things came to Korea that I don't
Yeah.
really care about, or hasn't come to Korea that I don't really care about. But that looks like a blast for my daughters. So how much is it?
It's 99. I think, yeah.
99 cents.
Yeah. Really nice app. The thing is, you can't export the song. There's no option for it. So you have to actually pull in the plug and record with your Mac or iPad. And you can only make one song. So you have to, if you want to make a new song, you have to override it. So it's like instant song making. So I think,
Why do you think they did that?
I think they focused it on not on the making songs, just for the experience of making songs. So it's like a game. So I play with it in the subway when I have free time. I just make a song in a minute and just erase it.
Really?
And it's really fun in that, that making experience.
Do you think if they added some social aspect to it, where you not necessarily share the files you make, but you could do it in real time with other people? You don't have to even be in the same location, but trying to match each other's beat,
Right.
or you could even gamify it by trying to duplicate something someone else has done, and if you get close enough, you get,
Right.
who knows, some points or a badge or something like that.
Yeah, if this app gets more popular, I think to do that social things, they have to maintain their server and everything. So, yeah, this is version 1.0, so I think they'll improve it in the future.
I might get that. It's only iPhone,
Yeah, right now it's only for iPhone.
so double on the iPad, but it still work, I'm sure, on the
Yeah.
iPad. So
Right.
I just might get that for my girls.
Yeah, it really is fun. And they're professional musicians, so their samples, the quality is really nice. So you can make some professional music.
Cool.
Yep.
So that's kind of what we have to talk about, other than we always close out with some information about Blogsy. We mentioned it earlier that we have an update that we hope Apple will approve tomorrow, and I'm really excited about that.
Right.
You know, can you pull up the blog and just go through a little bit? If you guys haven't already seen, if you haven't already read through this, I just think, and this ties in to my bitching and moaning about the Storify app. I think what these guys do and how they develop is just amazing. I say, can we do this? And they're like, I don't know, let me check. And they come back and they're like, yeah, here it is. And I'm like, wow, cool. It's just so cool what you guys do. Amazing. I'm so happy. I deal with all the customer support, so I get a lot of emails. Hey, can you do this? Can you add this? How can I do this? And we really went after medium hanging fruit, not the low hanging fruit. We've taken care of those in previous updates. These are kind of the medium hanging fruit kind of things that are not easy to add. And stuff like featured image support. And make sure this is not part of the API, so you will have to make some changes on your server. We don't control the WordPress API, so there's nothing we can do. But if you get this set up, we're the only app that I'm aware of that you can set the featured image.
Right.
So I'm really excited about that. And so much more. I mean, now with WordPress Media Library access, direct access, that is now part of the WordPress API. They made it possible to drag in documents. So whether it's an audio file or a PDF or whatever document.
Right.
Very cool, guys. That's great.
And custom field is also a big one, right?
Yeah, custom field, there's a lot of demand for custom field. And yeah, we figured out I think WordPress changed their API.
Yeah.
Because we didn't see it before and then we spotted. We don't get notified when they make changes to their
Right.
API. So when we were actually looking for something else, someone requested to see if it was part of the API, we spotted this. So we're like, wow, we can add it now. So we added that. Is there anything you guys are really excited about?
I'm excited about Retina display support. I'll have the new iPad soon, so it will be really good to see Blogsy on the new Retina display.
You know, the sad part is that Apple will probably update tomorrow or approve tomorrow, and then you'll get your iPad on Friday. So a lot of the people out there are going to see Blogsy and Retina before we even do.
Right.
You know? Just the way it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything you guys? Tell me about the experience. What was really a pain in the butt? What was really frustrating?
Retina display support was very time consuming. It's not some difficult one, but you know, when we first made Blogsy, we didn't expect they'll make a Retina version. Maybe we should have expected. But so I just made all the images in the exact size. I should have made it bigger. But so I had to make all the images from the scratch.
Yeah, and that's everything. It's everything on the dock.
Right.
That's all the buttons for formatting.
Yeah.
Everything.
So that's a little bit time consuming, but it was fun, maybe. Yeah, we didn't have the actual device, so I worked in a simulator. But the simulator screen is bigger than my Mac screen, so I couldn't see the whole screen. I had to scroll down and up and left and right. And,
Soon.
yeah.
Soon. How about you, Jusan?
Yeah, I like the Tumblr support and WordPress Media Library accessing. I like and also to me the implementation of some WordPress Media Library access is something
special.
yes, something special and something like a little bit hurdle to me.
Oh,
Yeah,
a hurdle.
Yeah,
hurdle.
because when I develop something, making some core function that consuming time is more about then some making or some considering exception case implementation will take more like 2 times or 3 times than original just core functions. So
Yeah, because what we have to do, it only supports, the API will only work if your blog installs 3.1 or above, right?
Yeah.
So for people we didn't want to just support for photo uploading and media library access, we didn't want to just support 3.1 and up, so we had to check the blog. Is it 3.1 or newer or not? And if it's older, then we're going to have Blogsy work the same way it worked before, where it remembers everything you've uploaded within Blogsy. But if you're a newer version of WordPress, then you'll have direct media access. And figuring all that out, how to figure out that was kind of difficult. The other one too, and I think I know you were pulling your hair out, Jusung, and I was kind of pulling my hair out too, was the IBM connections. You know, because if you guys have ever used Windows Live Writer, Windows Live Writer chooses to use special HTML entities. And so if you create something in Windows Live Writer, publish to your blog, and then try to pull it into Blogsy, there's a chance that Blogsy can't recognize those special HTML entities. And that's iOS doesn't recognize it, right? So for IBM Connections, it does the same thing for foreign languages. So any of the characters, any of the foreign languages, they use these special HTML entities. So Jusung had to go through crazy amount of time trying to build this whole parser to take all of these special entities and convert them to standard HTML, understandable HTML. Which, it's not a problem. If you create your blog post in Blogsy, publish it to IBM Connections, reload it into Blogsy, no problem. The problem is if you create it in the admin panel, the actual HTML side, right, Jusung? On their admin, then it's a problem. If you create it on the visual side in IBM Connections, then it's not a problem. So it's only that one special case, and we don't like to do things half-ass. So we just don't want to get kinds of emails saying, hey, why won't it work here? And have to explain why it doesn't work there. So we took all the time.
Yeah, hope it works for everyone who had that problem.
And the other one, too, is Tumblr.
Right.
You know, we got a lot of demand from the beginning. Please add Tumblr. Please add Tumblr. And because Tumblr was so different, we didn't want to do it and just add text blogging, which would have easily fit into Blogsy's UI. But then we knew that people would be unhappy with Blogsy and say, yeah, but I want to do an audio, or I want to do a photo, or how do I do this? And so that's a big reason. For a while, we weren't sure if we were going to ever add it. And then finally, thanks to Sean, he went through and figured out all those details and how it would fit into Blogsy, and we had UI discussions and everything, and so now we fully support what Tumblr does.
Every post types. So I want to bring up this. This is, do you know this? This is web cartoon XKCD.
No, I don't know.
It's pretty, I think many people know about it. They posted a new comic, and it's a Google Trend search. So this blue line is blog, and this red line is Tumblr. So it's like Tumblr is going up really high and blog is coming down. So he's saying in October 12th, 2012 it will meet. So it will be like Uplogalypse. I don't know. So yeah, maybe at that time Tumblr will be bigger.
A blogalypse.
A blog.
Instead of apocalypse, it's a blogalypse. Okay. Why is it a apocalypse? Why is that bad?
Oh, is it a bad one?
I don't know. It implies if apocalypse, apocalypse is like the end of times. So why is it bad that people are moving to Tumblr? Or
he is always having very I forgot the word again. Anyway, very fun factors in a comics. So maybe if you see the comics,
it's interesting. This must be WordPress.com.
Maybe this is Google Trend Search, so it includes every WordPress. So how many people search about it? So this, according to this, Tumblr is much bigger than WordPress.
So it's good that we support it.
Right. So yeah, that's why I brought this up.
Hopefully we get some more sales.
Right. Tumblr doesn't have their official iPad apps. They have their own iPhone apps, but not iPad yet, right?
Yeah, no, and you know, when people first started requesting it and stuff, they said, you guys better hurry because they're going to make their own iPad app, and that was kind of part of our hesitation. Well, if we're going to invest all this crazy time to really support it and do it right, and then Tumblr comes out with their own iPad app, then we've invested all that time for nothing, because I'm sure it's going to be free. Tumblr's they make their money off their site. They don't need to make money off of the app. But time went on, and still no Tumblr app, and still no Tumblr app. So
you can use it now.
Right. You don't have to wait.
Sarcasm. That's the word I was.
Oh, he's very sarcastic. Okay.
Okay.
We're always following the kind of trend information about blogs and blogging, of course, because it's what Blogsy does. And I'm going to do a blog post here soon about just kind of the market and how dominant WordPress is, and also I found a very interesting article, and I don't have the link to it right now, but it shows how much of an impact the iPad has made on people's blogging habits. And the data was collected at the end of last year, like November 2011, and it was pretty negative. People said very little change. And it's a little bit, like stab in the heart. Like, we want to make that change. We want to see people like, oh yeah, because now it's a huge change. I blog a lot from my iPad, but we're working on it.
Yeah, maybe they don't know about Blogsy yet.
Yeah, we do have a problem with getting the word out there to the general mass. I think people that follow tech and everything, they know about Blogsy, but just the general public isn't really aware. I don't, and I'm not a marketing expert, and these guys are developers, coding experts. That's not what they do. So something I need to work on and improve.
Yeah. I'm happy with what we're doing. We can do better.
Oh yeah, we can do better. But I have to say too, again, please don't take this as any way of bragging or anything, but there are a lot of a lot of apps out there. And as a developer, you want to put out something good and something that you can be proud of. I would assume, at least that's how I feel. And so Blogsy, I'm extremely proud of. It's not something I hide or am embarrassed of. I'm like, yeah, we're the developers of Blogsy. I can say it and proudly show, like, this is what we've created and this is what we've done. It just feels really good. Yeah, I thank you guys for all your hard work.
Yeah.
Hey, what's the deal with your shirt?
I got it from Google.
Right, so it's Android.
Yeah, it's all Google services. Android.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm an organizer of the Google user group in Seoul, but I'm an Apple fan also.
Yeah, I like Google. Google's some good stuff.
Yeah.
What's this one? I've seen this around.
It's the App Engine, Google App Engine. It's a developing language thing.
To develop apps for Android or?
For websites. You can easily build a web service with this App Engine.
I do have to admit, I like the Android guy.
Don't pick mine.
You're too sexy. I like that Android guy. I kind of wish that iOS had a character that says, hey, that's kind of cool thing about Android.
Yeah. But I can't imagine that Apple will have any character.
Yeah.
It's not Apple.
That's very un-Apple of us, because we have FOMO, which is our character. Because I kind of like characters. It's cool.
Yeah, I like characters too.
People, FOMO has a whole backstory, and all. We're kind of crazy geeks, okay? So we sit around and make these jokes and stuff like that, and FOMO has this whole backstory and where he came from and his girlfriend and all his relatives. You guys get to see his relatives. Our latest update is the dragon. That's actually a FOMO relative. And so, we like to play around. It's our way of having fun and not just sitting there drinking Jolt and or Red Bull and coding. So, anyway. I think I'm done.
Yeah, I'm done too.
Okay. Bye, guys. Thanks for watching.
Good show.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.